AJ, El Presidente, Eddie Kane University. Hill gon' heal, regardless. You, Buchanan, Bethel High School, by way of 3-Man Weave, LLC.
Michelle, producer, Faith Overseer University.
You can catch this wave from the Marlins to the Mariners. Doing things you can't believe. It's the 3-Man Weave.
All right, and we back again with another episode of the 3-Man Weave podcast. We are coming to you live and direct promptly at 8:08 here on Wednesday, February 17th. I am AJ El Presidente, and always I got my two favorite guys with me. Introduce yourselves.
You already know you got your boy Cannon with you as always. You know, Washington fan extraordinaire. Hey, football season is over. What we really got to talk about.
You brought back extraordinaire. You already know who it is. It's your boy Hill. Hill gonna heal regardless, baby. Let's get it. Episode 97.
Yes, 97.
Yeah, you did a good job. Proud of you. Got it on the bottom. Yeah, I know y'all can catch us on all major podcast platforms. 3-Man Weave, Instagram, Twitter, 3-Man Weave _. You can email us at podcast.3.man.weave@gmail.com. Let's get it. Cannon, I finally watched one of your movies, bro.
Which one?
What? One Night in Miami?
Oh yeah, what you think about it?
It was interesting.
That's it. That's all you got. It was interesting.
Yeah, because it was informative. A different perspective, something that it really happened. So it gave us a glimpse of what they was thinking in that time or how they were acting in that time. The thought process from 4 different individuals.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why it was interesting because I think it was that interesting for me because I heard the breakdown on the Joe Budden podcast.
Calling Malcolm X a buzzkill.
And it was 100% accurate because I'm like, bro.
He was, though. He was.
Sam Cooke was sick of him, bro.
But the funny thing is, bro, all of that is accurate. I recently finished reading, the Malcolm X autobiography. I had read it when I was young, but I reread it maybe like 2 months ago before I had seen the movie. And one thing that I noticed as an adult reading that book is that Malcolm X admitted to his paranoia in the final stages of his life. So it's like he literally finished writing that book maybe 2 weeks before he was assassinated. But the last 4 or 5 chapters, that's pretty much all he talked about. Like he knew, like after the split with the Nation of Islam, that he pretty much his life was in danger. So he was moving around like, I'm going to die very soon. And everybody else around him, his friends included, his wife, his children, they were blind to that reality. You know what I'm saying? Like he was telling them, but they was like, come on, like it ain't, they not really going to kill you for just telling the truth. But he was talking to Alex Haley. He was like, yo, we really got to finish this book. So it was like the book and traveling and doing his pilgrimage to Mecca overall. But what I thought was really, really interesting to piggyback off what Hill said, one, this was Regina King's directorial debut. Mm-hmm. And I think majority of the film was shot in the same setting. So it's like they're not going to different places. They're not traveling. Like they sitting in a hotel room. Mm-hmm. And I feel like one, like that the setup for the movie already puts you in a box, but I felt like for her to put herself in a box but still show more creativity than a lot of directors we see out of here when they have a blank canvas to work with. One, you're working with factual events that you can't really skew from the storyline. Two, you're using just a hotel room as the main setting, and it's like almost a 2-hour film, and you was entertained the whole time. So it's like I gave it like an A- overall, just because it's like the acting was elite. I felt like the script was elite. And and just the creativity of it, especially with her being limited by the true story of it. I thought it was elite. That's why I wanted y'all to watch it.
I mean, you not necessarily she wasn't limited by a true story, because when it's an interesting true story, I mean, give it to us. Like it's no need to deviate from what happened.
That's true.
And like you said, I know of Sam Cooke, but like I don't really know Sam Cooke, but I felt Sam Cooke.
Yeah,
like the entire time. Like, bro, I'm not trying to hit none of this, bro. Like, like, bro, he just won the champion. He won the championship. Title fight.
Yeah.
And we sitting in the hotel with you.
Yeah,
bro,
but it's
I'm Sam Cooke, bro. Like, bro, we can be out. Like,
you ain't have no time left, bro, and that's what they understand, bro. So it's like he like on a limited clock. It's like he really knew. Really knew that he was gonna die, and they just thinking that tomorrow is promised. You know how we walk around, we take life for granted for real. It's like if you really was getting death threats and people calling you, telling like, listen, when I catch you, and these are people that you know to be real killers, you would start moving and acting different. You feel me? Especially if me and AJ was lollygagging and acting like everything was all great. You'd be like, listen, bro, cut the play, bro.
You walking all up and down the streets all day playing. You think he playing about his money?
And that was his mentality. But honestly, he was 100% a buzzkill in the movie. But it's like I understand because of where he was in his real life. He had to be.
Like the more and more that they stayed in the hotel, I understood why. It was just, but when they first got to the hotel, bro, I was Sam from the get-go. Bro, we could be out. And then when they went to the store, I just knew they was never coming back, bro.
Yeah, I would have never coming back.
I'm like, oh, they not coming back.
Get this, bro.
Especially to get lectured. I'm not trying to get lectured when I get back to the room.
Like, yeah.
That's like when you know, like you got that ass whooping coming, but first it's that I'm not really mad at you, I'm disappointed in you speech.
Yeah.
And you know it's coming. You like,
right.
And I ain't trying to hear this, bro. Just whoop my ass, please. Just get this shit over with. let me go about my day. Let me get mine for my pain and suffering, and let's just move on.
That's a fact.
I know I can't really give too much of my 2 cents in this because Ken is sick of us because he done gave us 6 movies to watch, and me and Hill collectively have watched 2, but it wasn't the same movie.
Yeah.
He'll watch one movie today, and I watched a different movie today. So it ain't even like we can come in and collectively talk as a unit. Because now I'm sitting here just talking about some whole other shit, like waiting for it. Like, what about this movie?
But you're making sense though, because the thing is, you know a lot about Malcolm's personal life, and that's really, I was like, everything in the movie really stemmed off of that.
Absolutely. Because, once again, to me, the One Night in Miami, it is almost a story about him in my eyes, because it's like you said, it's what he was going through right now. It's almost like, bro, it's like when you know it's a bag on your head and you out in the club trying to have fun. It's just like, hey, bro, like, I know y'all trying to be out here on all these bitches, but we got to discuss what the fuck is going on. So if something happens to me, y'all can carry this shit on.
Jim kept telling them, hey, listen, we can go get the shorties, bro. Like I feel but look, I'm gonna tote this rock and I'm gonna do these movies, but right now we can go get these shorties, bro.
Hey, nigga, we in Miami.
Why are we here? They should have went somewhere else.
Like, which way would you rather go out, brother? In the hotel talking to us?
But what
a hotel.
Now, Katie, I tried to watch the other movies on the list. Yeah. So I got a good plea. I don't know what AJ's plea is. AJ's the movie buff. AJ really, really got a plea. He got a plea.
I'm about to say, I don't have a whole 10-month-old. You know what it's
like. He got a plea.
Bro, Chase be chilling.
Bro, not today. He was wild today. He got them teeth. He don't know how to act.
It's over.
Yeah, so I mean, he had plenty of energy today. But I got through the movie, Judas and the Black Messiah.
How accurate was that?
I believe it was. I believe it was. It was fairly. It was fairly accurate. We know the
as accurate
story.
as you can get without being.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, the thing that I'm enjoying now is we are able to start getting our movies without the white saviors in them.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there's been movies that have been true stories,
Yep.
but somehow you get that white savior in there that just, maybe we should do this, maybe we should do that. And like, we're starting to control our narrative, and that's really what it's all about. And if you look at it, that's one of the reasons why they killed Fred Hampton,
Mm-hmm.
because he was making sure that he was controlling his narrative. Because
Mm-hmm.
what they tried to do is say the Black Panther Party and the KKK are one and the same.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not killing.
You wasn't killing no KKK members.
Mm-hmm.
KKK don't have no black people in it. Fred Hampton recruited the Rainbow Coalition. Let's not forget about that.
Mm-hmm.
KKK not out here trying to team up with, the NAACP and the United Negro College Fund to make sure that their money can help send black people to school. No, he was talking about like, hey, he went to the I can't remember the name of them white boys, but I'm gonna call them the white boys in Chicago. He went to them and said, hey, bro, like, you got more in common with us than you do them. And that's one thing that, like, through this election week, like I've said, and I believe, all three of us have said, a lot of white people have more in common with black people than they do of these Republicans that they voting for, who are only worried about this top, 1%, the people with money. Bro, you got a lot more in common with us. They treating you the same way as they treat us. Y'all talk about they talk about the propaganda and, the radical left and this and that, but you're buying into their propaganda that they care for you. How are these giant tax breaks for these large corporations going to help you?
Mm-hmm.
They telling you, oh, we creating all these jobs, and they talking to you about coal and all of that. How many of y'all motherfuckers really work in a coal mine?
Yeah.
That shit don't help you.
Yeah.
So you have a lot more in common with us than you think. And I think that's one of the reasons why I think it was fairly accurate, because it really did depict Fred Hampton on who he was. But what I also wanted to bring up is how this is exactly why when people say, oh, the police are here to trust us and this and that, why don't you? Bro, we don't trust we don't trust the government. We don't trust the police. That's why we've always been so skeptical, because J. Edgar Hoover created COINTELPRO
to take us out. Everyday people trying to feed children. Take them out.
And that's why when we talk about, hey, why is the CIA and FBI, saying, happy birthday to Martin Luther King and all this shit? This is the reason why. Like, you had a hand in the death of some of our largest figures. And that's why it's like, yo, fuck the government. We, regardless of who you are, a lot of black people are skeptical, because we understand the hands that you've played and where we're at right now. And so when everyone talks about, slavery is so long ago, the civil rights, the segregation, that's so long ago, which is not, because my grandma grew up in that time. My mama was born, she'd kill me if I told it, but she was born in 63. That was when MLK got shot.
No, bro. We only one generation away. Like, bro,
and so
we be capping, as not us, but as a generation, we be capping about it.
Fam. And so when we talk about all of this oppressive behavior and all of this oppressive shit that we be going through, it's not hyperbole. It's not that we're so far removed, because guess what? Those same motherfuckers that was in Selma opposing Martin Luther King, guess how old they is? They probably about 60, 70 years old. Some of them may be 80, but think about it. If you 60, 70 years old, you ain't necessarily on your deathbed. Where you at? You've worked your way up into managerial positions, chief justice on, the highest courts. You've worked your way up into, executive board positions in companies where you can make decisions. You ain't just necessarily, rolled over and about to die. So in my mind, the shit that we talk about, they try to purposely make us think that that we're so far removed from it. But it's pictures of Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks in color. The reason why is propaganda to make us think that, oh, because it's in black and white, we're so far removed from it. It wasn't that far removed.
Fred Hampton was only 21, bro.
21.
I was just about to ask you that. Was he really? I didn't know he was 21.
And this is the thing about, and this is when I said that statement about black coaches, how like we're gonna have to take control of our narrative. That's the reason why Fred was killed, bro. Because like AJ said, he took control of his narrative. As a 20-year-old, he never really committed no crime. Like, yeah, he went to jail on a trumped up charge, basically for organizing and telling people the truth. Basically, is what he went to jail for. And so, like, a 21-year-old man was willing to die. Like at 21, this man was making speeches saying that I'm not gonna die in no car wreck. I'm not gonna die. Like I'm gonna die fighting for the people because that's what I was born to do. Now I think about myself personally, where I was when I was 21 years old. I was not ready to be no revolutionary, bro. And look at us today. We're well informed today, have more resources at our fingertips than a 21-year-old Fred Hampton ever did, and we still won't start a revolution.
You know why? Because the reason why we won't start a revolution is designed by the government. Because guess what? The killing of Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Fred Hampton, those are lynchings.
Yeah,
those are lynchings.
Those are assassinations.
Bro, like no, it's a lynching because they do it in a public, like they do it so that it can put fear in you. And then the reason why that's the reason why we don't have any revolutionaries, because being Martin Luther King, being Fred Hampton, being Bobby Seale, being Huey P. Newton, that shit's not glamorous. You don't get paid for that. You don't get to live in fulfillment off of something like that. You don't get like that. That's a lonely life. Yeah. Like it takes you away from your family to know that it takes you away from your family. And then you still like you said, Malcolm knew that he was gonna die. He had to look over his shoulder at every point in time.
Which is why it's so important to him.
And think about it. You would have a lot more Bill O'Neills than you will Fred Hamptons, because so many people now are so self-serving and worried about themselves. Yeah. It's let me make sure that I don't go to jail for 5 years, 10 years, because I was stealing cars. Some shit that I did. Yeah. You was stealing cars. You was impersonating a federal agent. And I'm gonna set this man up.
He's a legit psychopath, bro. This man literally in the first scene, like he laughed. That's another thing. It's superb acting. It's Lakeith Stanfield.
That's Bill O'Neill.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I really like him as an actor, but I hated him in this movie, which means he did a good job. He did a good job. And it's like I'm watching a movie, and I even talked to Kev about this. Our guy Kev Wiggins, and I was like, "Yo, bro, he's a psychopath. Like he literally tried to impersonate a FBI agent to steal a car. They realized he wasn't an agent. They like, bro, you're not stealing my car. They about to kill him. He almost dies, and as soon as he escaped, like he cracks a smile. Like, bro, if I almost died from stealing something, like I'd be like, whew, oh my gosh, thank you. Like we made it out. Like this man is laughing to himself, like it's like, bro, you're a sicko. It's like they picked the perfect person to infiltrate, because like you said, AJ, one, he ain't have nothing to live for anyway, because it's like he committed suicide soon after he did the documentary explaining what he did. It's like if you that easy to persuade, that easy to turn on your own people, you already have bigger issues. So it's like the FBI knew that, which is why they saw him out, and that wasn't $200,000. That wasn't his first case. You feel me? And it's really $300 is what he sold him out for.
Pretty much.
So that's why, and that's why they call it
$300 in his freedom.
Yeah, and that's why they call it Judas, because it's basically like the 30 pieces of silver.
Exactly, and this is why it's so frustrating, because Bill O'Neal wasn't the only Bill O'Neal. Remember, it was another
It was
snitch
a
from New Haven.
It was a bunch
Like,
of them, bro. In every month.
they had them completely infiltrating everything. But y'all can't infiltrate the KKK.
But no,
It's by design, bro.
They just don't kill them. Now, and that's what, if you read that
they don't have to. Because why am I infiltrate myself?
Because it ain't their self, bro. Like listen, Malcolm had it, bro. They infiltrated the KKK, but it's like it's a means to an end. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like it's no need for me to assassinate the David Dukes of the world. He ain't organized like how Malcolm X was, right? Malcolm X was able to take 300 men licensed to carry firearms and make them stand in front of a Harlem precinct. That's more police officers than all the precincts in Harlem had on duty. So it's like they were afraid of the mobilization. And the thing about the KKK, yes, they were organized amongst themselves, but they couldn't organize other people. The Nation of Islam at that time was able to just tell the neighborhood, listen, we're going to come right here and do this for brother so-and-so, a brother that got shot or beat up by the cops, and the whole neighborhood would have been out there. And that's why I always say we need to bring the Panthers back. The Panthers used to follow on-beat police officers and make sure that they didn't brutalicize people when they pulled them over, made sure that they made bail, and we don't even have that now. If we did stuff like that now, we could have prevented Philando Castro. We could have prevented a Breonna Taylor. But it's like nobody wants to check anybody. And that's another reason why they want. The KKK wasn't doing that. So they was like, we got to kill Fred. Fred got a whole crew of people on shifts following the police, making sure that they doing their job with fidelity. We got to get rid of him, bro. You see what I'm saying? So it's like those white groups, they make enough noise, but they do enough to stay under the radar because they only want to mess with black people.
But that's my thing. That's my point. When you have a white hate group, it doesn't mess up the machine.
Yeah.
So like you can't, like, I won't say David Duke didn't have people organized. I won't say the KKK doesn't have people organized. It's not threatening the machine. Because you think about it, even those people who stormed the Capitol, an insurrection, trying to overthrow the quote unquote government, it's not overthrowing the machine of the people that are actually necessarily trying to make things go. If black people storm the Capitol, we're trying to really make, some full sweep changes. We're trying to do something radical.
Exactly. But that's
to them, what they're trying to do is patriotic. It's the wording, it's the verbiage. Once again, propaganda
separates you from being assassinated right there, though. If you try to change the system, because look at JFK was them. He was trying to change the system. They said, got to go.
Mob was like, hey, bro.
It didn't have nothing to do with color. You see what I'm saying? But it had everything to do with action. And that's what Fred was saying. Fred was not just a regular talker. He was about action. He said, we didn't just talk about no feed the children program on the south side of Chicago. We fed the children on over there. You see what I'm saying? Everybody want to have 5, 6, 10 meetings about how we're going to roll out a food program. Fred said, roll a program out, man. Feed the children. Oh, if we getting beat up by cops, we gonna start following cops in shifts. So it's like that was the thing. Like action. That's why other Panthers were able to survive because they weren't putting the pedal to the metal like he was, bro. And it's the same thing with Martin and Malcolm. They would get people to actually move and take action. So Medgar Evers also, all of these people that could make things tangible and really upset the system. You saw what happened to him.
And that's another thing that really, like, I want to get to is speaking about propaganda, the propaganda of Martin Luther King and how they really tried to turn Martin Luther King into this figure that they wanted Martin Luther King to be. That he was just this super peaceful and, hey, whatever the white man says, he wasn't that.
No, he was real, man.
Mark, people, and that's another thing that they try to do is they try to pit Martin Luther King and Malcolm X against each other. Like, oh, Malcolm X was just this super, super radical white man hater and this and that. but you know they want to.
But he was at one point.
I was about to say that.
Go out of that.
But what I'm saying is, what they won't allow to happen is growth.
They won't. They will not.
They won't allow anything to, you know, with his growth to be mentioned when they talk about him, because they want him propped up as this. Hey, you shouldn't follow what he did, because guess what? There's a sect of people who were like, nah, this is what we need to do.
Yeah.
And even if it's the matured Malcolm, it's more so, fuck all of this. Like, I'm not about to, you know, be looking to you for a handout. We gonna try and fix our own shit.
Yeah.
And that's very dangerous, because we got the numbers to do it.
Yeah.
It's another reason why they killed Tupac, but that's another.
But man, I was gonna say, like, Tupac literally said that what you said about growth. So it's like Tupac often got asked in interviews as he was growing, you know, same thing that they do with us now. They ask you about a tweet from 10 years ago, 5 years ago. And it's like, bro, 5 years ago, I was a total different person. It's like, I can grow. It's like, it's unfortunately that we live in a time where everything's being recorded. It's like people before us, everything wasn't recorded. So it's like, bro, like, if you're Tupac gonna say, like, yeah, I said that 2 years ago. And guess what? I ain't apologizing, because that's how I felt 2 years ago. But as a man, it's only right for me to grow and mature. And if you can't respect the fact that I grew and mature, then you know what Pac said after that. But it's like, come on now, it don't take a genius to understand that 10 years from now, I ain't going to be saying the same thing. Unless I was completely right about one thing, maybe 10 years I'll be saying it. But more than likely, I'm never going to be completely right about anything. So I'm always going to be learning and growing.
And here's my thing also. Think about it. Fred Hampton got killed when he was 21 years old.
21, bro.
Think about when Tupac died. Think about when Malcolm X died. Think about when Martin died. How old were they? And think about how much you've changed. So think about being
none
Fred
of those
Hampton,
people you named were 40.
Bro, and that's my point. So think about the things that the immature things that you've done in your 20s. These motherfuckers was let me not say that, because it's just a term, but these men were leading thousands and millions of people in their 20s. Yeah. Do you know how imperfect of a person you
with no IG
in your 20s?
With no IG.
To have to have that will, that's fucking dangerous. Because think about it. If you are doing that in your 20s, what are you gonna do in your 30s and 40s?
And your 50s.
What are you gonna do in your 50s and 60s?
You're gonna be the president, bro.
Think about how dangerous you can be. That's fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
So to them, it's like, oh yeah, they said it. Like they said it in those meetings. Hey, I want this motherfucker off the street. He doing way too much.
For nefarious activity. Now, how can nefarious activity be feeding children that don't have food to eat? That welfare has decided to not provide for them. So it's like
government control.
It's like I watched control twice, and I read up on everything I could about Fred Hampton to really figure out like what crime did he commit other than leading people, and that's what it was. Like they really killed him for leading people. They had a own private trial, conviction, and execution based off the fact that they were afraid of the talent that this young man possessed. It's like without any college education at 21, he probably spoke better than us three now. You see what I'm saying? But it's like in those times, without the internet, when a lot of us were self-educated, they took more pride in almost everything they did. That's one thing that we got away from. Like there's so much resources at the fingertips from us that we take everything for granted. We only read up on something when it's pertinent, or when we're not just educating ourselves just for the purpose of being educated. And Fred was reading all type of books, man. The law. He's one thing that he said in one of his speeches that was probably impressed me the most, and the fact that he was 21. He said, "We're not going to fight capitalism with black capitalism, which is what most of us would think today that we should fight it with, right? But black capitalism is the same thing as capitalism. So it's like, that's only going to lead to more capitalism. He said, we're going to fight capitalism with socialism, which is the opposite of capitalism. And I just thought that I'm 30 plus, and that just hit me. It's like, there's no way I would have understood fighting capitalism with socialism at 20 nothing in my life, bro. And so it's like, we just look back at some of the leaders that they took away from us. You realize why they did it, because we would be a lot further along had they let some of those people live.
And my thing is, you can look into it and say it's a reason why they didn't let us live. Because think about it. What if instead of getting our textbooks from McGraw-Hill, we had
Malcolm X.
Malcolm X giving input on our history books. We had Fred Hampton giving, like, because we went to HBCUs. What if they were adjunct professors in their later years of life, coming to our institution and saying, no, this is what happens. This is who you are.
We would have knowledge of self. We would not be lost, and that's why they did that.
And so that's my thing, and you know, we need to completely understand the full power that we possess, whether it be in, economy, business, or sports. We
or media.
Or the media. We are the brand. We drive this ship.
You're getting good at this, sir.
Until we learn, we won't do shit. Even if you out here requesting a trade, whatever the case may be, and let's go to Draymond Green's comments about how NBA players are being treated. I know, Hill, you're going to cuss me out, but I've been trying all day. I don't know how Michelle did it, but converting that video to be able to come on StreamYard, wasn't necessarily able to convert it because I don't have the software, but I can play the audio if you don't mind.
Don't get mad at me. We could go ahead.
No. I'm just saying, but I'm about to play this audio of the Draymond Green comments.
How long is it? Is it 5 minutes long?
It's 2 minutes, but I might cut this shit. I'm sorry. I might cut it short just so we can get into it. But it's some stuff that he says that I think we need to discuss and we need to clarify also.
Andre Drummond before the game, sit on the sideline, then go to the back, and then come out in street clothes because a team is going to trade him is bull. Because when James Harden asked for a trade and essentially dogged it, I don't think there was no surprise or there's no one's going to fight back that James was dogging it his last days in Houston. But he was castrated for wanting to go to a different team, and everybody destroyed that man. And yet a team can come out and say, oh, we want to trade a guy, and then that guy is to go sit. And if he doesn't stay professional, then he's a cancer, and he's not good in someone's locker room, and he's the issue. And we've seen situations of Harrison Barnes getting pulled off the bench. DeMarcus Cousins finding out that he's traded in an interview after the All-Star game, and we continue to let this happen. But I got fined for stating my opinion of what I thought should happen with another player. But teams can come out and continue to say, oh, we're trading guys, we're not playing you. And yet we're to stay professional. At some point, as players, we need to be treated with the same respect and have the same rights that the team can have. Because as a player, you're the worst person in the world when you want a different situation. But a team can say they're trading you, and that man is to stay in shape. He is to stay professional. And if not, his career is on the line. At some point, this league has to protect the players from embarrassment like that. We talk all of this stuff about you can't do this, you can't say that publicly. If you say that publicly, you're fine. Anthony Davis got fined, I think, $100,000 or something like that for demanding a trade publicly. But you can say Andre Drummond is getting traded publicly, and we're looking to trade him publicly, and he's to stay professional and just deal with it. But then when Kyrie Irving say, oh, my mental health is off, everybody go crazy about that too. Do you not think that affects someone mentally? As much as we put into this game to be great, to come out here and be in shape, to produce for fans every single night, and most importantly, to help your team win, do you think that doesn't affect someone mentally? But as players, we're told to, no, you can't say that, you can't say this, but teams can. It goes along the same lines of when everyone wants to say, oh man, that young guy can't figure it out. But no one wants to say the organization can't figure it out. At some point, the players must be respected in these situations, and it's ridiculous, and I'm sick of seeing it. Y'all have a great night. I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Who want to go first?
Y'all.
All right. So I want to say he brought up James Harden, and
Horrible example
because
but that was his point.
But no, it was
to bring up a horrible example.
No, I get that, but what I'm saying is, I didn't kill James Harden for requesting a trade. I killed James Harden for how he acted, and he was saying all of this stuff when that organization actually they gave him a lot of the shit that he asked for.
Everything that he asked for.
Me and Hill get into this all the time about, taking money, sometimes taking less money to win. But I'm on the side of, hey, take everything, like no discounts. Legend at the bank before legend on the court. And that's my thing, is because they want you to take a discount, be a team player, love the organization that you play for. But you can give your heart and soul, your blood, sweat, and tears, your every single ounce to an organization. And at the moment they be like, we might be able to get better if we move you, they can do it. But the moment you say, my career might be able to get better if I leave, it's a problem. And so that's why I say no discounts. Let me get all your money. Don't take no hometown discounts. Don't be that team guy. Let the team figure it out. That's not so. This is going to lead to a topic that we put in the chat. If I'm not going to be in the meetings to make decisions, I'm not going to be responsible for the decisions you make. You can either pay me or I'll take less, but you have me in those rooms for those decisions. So we can figure out how we go make things better. Because if I have no say so, give me my money. Y'all figure the rest of the shit out. And if y'all can't figure the rest of the shit out, I'll ask to go somewhere that can. And so that's my thing. And I think the players have to understand, you got to start treating shit like these owners do. Fuck the jersey. They always tell you play for the name on the back. If the owners in those franchises, they playing for the green, you got to do the same thing.
Cannon, would you like to go?
But I think that was his point. He purposely chose one of the worst situations possible, because even with the fact that Harden was dogging it, the organization can still trade him at the drop of a hat, regardless if he wasn't. Because prior to him dogging it, he did do everything that they asked him to do. You feel me? He would, and it's like they could trade him. So it's like, if you could do that to me, why don't I what's wrong with me exercising my right to do that? So and I think that's his point, is like he wanted to pick a situation where someone was dogging it, to say that regardless if they was dogging it or not, it's their choice, just like the ownership's choice, because the ownership dogs all the time, and it's going to throw you under the bus. Now, what I will say is, the Bible says the child shall lead. Now, I very rarely ever agree with Draymond, but one thing I did realize is that maybe I did do what he said that the media does to James Harden. Maybe I didn't look at it. Now, I'm not saying, I'm being self-reflective. I'm not saying what I said was wrong, and I'm not backpedaling on what I said. But what I will do in the future is think twice, which I try to do anyway, before I make statements like that. Because I shouldn't be knocking a player for trying to get everything that they want, because we don't ever knock the teams for doing that. I mean, we may do it, but I'm speaking as for us as a whole. We always, like AJ said, play for the jersey. We were raised to say all of these things, and instead of go and get your money. Like that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna go and make the decision that's best for them and their family. Make the decision that's best for you and your family, even if that does mean rubbing some of them the wrong way. Because what they always say when they rub somebody the wrong way, hey, it's not personal.
It's a business.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when it's my turn, don't act like it's personal. Don't call me a cancer. Don't do all of the stuff that y'all saying. Say, hey, it was business, and I made the best decision for me. Because if you look at James now, it appears that he made a good business.
Ooh,
No.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Imagine if LeBron James wrote that letter to the fans that Dan Gilbert wrote when he made the decision.
He got killed.
Bro, like when an organization trades a player, how often do they say, "Oh, I'm burning the jersey"? But if a player says, "I'm leaving," they burn the jersey,
and the org be with them. They be
like, "Oh, burn it."
Twitter account.
We'll have cupcake day when KD comes to town. Like, no. You made a business decision to get James Harden out of here instead of keep Ibaka. But nobody killed the organization. Nobody burned jerseys then. But when KD's like, you know what? I really want to get out of this situation. That's when they start burning jerseys. When players decide I'm going elsewhere, it's always a problem. So I think we've touched on stuff like this before, but I don't want to take Hill's floor. Go ahead, because I feel like you got some stuff you want to get off your chest right now.
I was letting y'all get y'all's off, and trust the supporters. We're gonna get to y'all comments, and y'all have some great comments that we're gonna touch on. Me personally, I hate when people they say something great, they make a great statement, and then they use a horrible example, and it kind of minimizes your entire statement. But I'm not gonna do that to Draymond right now because he made a powerful statement. I agree with his perspective and the player's perspective. They have every right to feel that way. I understand. Great job. How much power do these players want? I'm confused. You're still going to work. Like, this is still your job. This is still your job. Like, how much you're already teaming up, making your own super teams by yourself. You're already facilitating, bullying your ways out the other teams all by yourself. Y'all doing this all on your own. You're controlling your contracts. Everybody's getting paid. You're guaranteed money. Y'all doing a lot. Y'all getting a lot. But at the end of the day, your ass is still going to work. Like if your manager shows up to work every day, ain't no meeting with your manager be like, hey, listen, yo, you got to start showing up to work on time. No, your ass need to come to work on time like you supposed to, because you are the employee. Now, I'm not saying go out there and chuck and jive and do all that. Get it. Speak your mind. And that's the issue. Y'all not speaking up for yourself. Y'all letting this media manipulation get the best of y'all. A lot of these trade requests. I'm sorry.
You good?
Something popped up on my screen. What the fuck is going on?
Bro, get X.
I'm sorry. I'm good.
Get X videos off the screen, bro. We can see your reflection in the glasses. I seen Luna Star up there.
You see it? But
no. That ass from a mile away.
But what I'm saying is, I lost my point hard. I knew I was trying not to lose it. God,
bro, you was talking about, hey, you was
okay. So let me jump in here.
Man, God damn it.
I'm gonna talk you through it. You was talking about your manager. If your manager come in and your manager's coming to work, you got to come to work every day.
Back.
Okay,
I'm saying y'all letting it. How many trade requests have we heard from an actual player? Did we actually hear James Harden say,
no.
I want a trade request? Did we actually hear anything?
It's always
what? Oh, bro.
It's always leaked. But even when it's the team, it's always leaked. And that's the nature of the business, is like, that's the political part about it.
Whose fault is that?
For like boxing. Like, it's never gonna come directly from the person. It's always from somebody else. But it's like, bro, they leaking this stuff on purpose. It's like, remember when Puffy was leaking Biggie's albums and stuff, acting like somebody hacked them. So whose fault is that?
Out of all these platforms that these players have, they got their own podcast, they got their own shows, they got their own. They can go on IG Live, they can send a tweet, they can say whatever they want to do. And what do? Remain quiet and let the narrative get written for themselves. Speak up.
But you know why? You know why sometimes they remain quiet? Because it's like, the narrative of what happens when you do speak up. You're considered a cancer. And then, so it's like until that narrative, it's almost like, but hold on. That's why I'm glad we started with these movies. It's just like Malcolm and it's just like Fred Hampton. They were the ones speaking up, and what happened? They became martyrs. AJ said that's not the life that nobody wants. In reality, you'll get more bills, and I know you haven't seen the movie yet, but you will get more bills, which is basically more Judases if you're relying on people to speak up, knowing that speaking up does not protect you. It actually makes you a target.
But so you want out, right?
You do.
So Anthony Davis, that he used as an example,
he
wanted out.
Yeah.
And he expressed himself because he actually did say, I do want out. And he got fired. That's the price that you're paying, right?
Yeah.
You know you're gonna get it back. We talking about the big dogs. We talking about the big dog. We're not talking about Jared Dudley asking for a trade.
I know we ain't talking about no.
But you feel what I'm saying? So whatever fine that you're getting, you willing to pay because I'm ready to get out of here.
If you ask AD, and that's why I was goes back to my point when I was telling AJ about we got to take control of our own narrative. Yes, you may take a hit initially, and AD took the hit initially with the fine, but ultimately he
get up on the back end.
He achieved his goal.
But they wasn't. But let's be honest about AD's trade request. They wasn't mad that he requested a trade. They were mad that he requested to go play with Bron.
Exactly.
Like that's not be like.
Remember, they said they didn't plan on helping the Lakers.
What's your parents say? If you want something, a closed mouth don't get fed. So what I'm supposed to say? I want to go play with Jared Dudley.
But if somebody, but let's hypothetically, if Bradley Beal said he wants out, ain't nobody gonna say, "Oh, Bradley Beal's a cancer." They gonna feel, "Oh yeah, free Bradley Beal," right? Feel what I'm saying? They pick and choose. These narratives are pick and choose.
Yeah,
they're letting these narratives be set. Speak up.
Yeah.
Speak up.
I agree, but it's just like everybody's not gonna have the courage. That's just the reality of it. Like AJ said, you're gonna have more Bill O'Neills than you're gonna have more Fred Hamptons and more Malcolm X's.
And it's wrong if you in the warm-up line and then next thing you know they take you out the warm-up line and you trade.
No. That's example.
My whole thing,
like the Drummond example.
No, not even that. How many players have we've heard had to find out that they got traded or cut on Twitter?
Not even on Twitter, but even before Twitter, it was a reporter told you like
that's wrong as hell.
Exactly, because my whole thing is how would you feel if it's a thing for me called a no call no show.
Yep.
If I no call no show, you have the right
one time.
You have the right to fire me if I'm an at will employee. If I'm not mistaken, athletes are contractors. Athletes are contractors, which are technically at will employees. The company can cut you at will. And so if I'm an at will employee, you can just be like, I'm on the way. You can fire me before I even get to the facility.
Don't even come.
So how can I say if I feel like the company that I'm giving my blood, sweat, and tears to isn't in the right direction, I can't quit because for me, I'm under contract, so I can't quit. But you don't have to honor the contract. That's the thing.
You can pay out.
And so that not even then, because some contracts, like if we go to the NFL, ain't no buyouts in the NFL. They can just cut your ass.
We don't talk about NBA, right? Because the NFL,
okay. So we'll talk about the NBA. But if they want to be like, you know what, here, they could pay you to leave, but still, that's a lot of security that you may not, be sure where something's going to come next. So my whole thing is, if they can cut you at the end, like just before anything happens, or they can move you, you should be able to say, hey, get me up out of here without it being tampering.
And that's why I agree with James on Draymond using James, because it's like, regardless of how much he dogged it, bro, it's like, bro, if the tables were turned, they would have sold him out like that. So why am I mad that a one black dude, or not even a black dude, a player finally got justice? You know what? I realized that maybe I should shift my thinking from being on the owner side. But I like how Marcus Morgan is willing to play devil's advocate and look at both sides. He says that is protecting their capital. Say they play in the game when they got traded and got hurt, can't trade damaged goods. And I understand that from a business perspective. But my thing about that is that I'm not letting a reporter tell you that you got traded. I'm not letting you hear it from a third party before I tell you. If you came here and you played 4 years or however many long years, you laid it out on the line here, which James Harden, we can all agree before he started dogging it, he laid it out on the line in Houston. He deserved for management, the GM or the assistant GM to come and tell him like a man, whatever's happening. And any player, Andre Drummond, they deserve that too. We shouldn't have to go through the media to play.
Let me jump in real quick.
You've been jumping.
Go ahead.
My thing, what is wrong with sitting a player and be saying, "Hey, look, we about to get you up out of here"?
Nothing. But it's like those players are being told by somebody else that they were traded, and that's why.
No, not the trade aspect. Me sitting you down and we working on getting the trade. What is wrong with that?
Okay, so let me ask you this. What's wrong with a player saying, I want to get traded, I'm not playing? Because if I'm damaged goods, y'all can't trade me.
Hey, I didn't have an issue with
but that's my point. But I'm not saying you, Hill. I'm not saying you. I'm just saying in general. When when AD was like, you know what? I'm trying to go to the Lakers. Y'all got to facilitate this trade to the Lakers. I'm not playing until it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and he said, what's wrong with that? Because I am my own product. If I get hurt, I'm damaged goods, and then y'all can't trade me. And I'm not saying now one of y'all said this.
No. I'm rebutting. It's nothing wrong. It's nothing wrong with that. Right. But he said this.
Yes.
You feel what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
He said, he let you know from the jump, hey, listen, we gonna get this trade or I'm not playing. So now it is what it is at this point. I done made it clear. Ain't no third party, ain't no Rachel Nichols saying this, ain't no Brian McMenemy, Chris Broussard, ain't none of that.
It's random people that you never know.
You heard it from me. You heard it from me. You heard what I want. You heard what you know what I'm saying? I'm not signing with none of you other teams. I'm not signing no extension with no trade for me. LA, y'all come for me. I'm signing an extension. It is that is flat out from the horse's mouth. You can be mad. You can be mad. If you're mad, you just want to be mad.
Right. And so Morgan, you say the players play for the organization, not the other way around.
That's correct.
That's correct. But look at some of these shitty organizations who have one star. Like me and Hill got into a back and forth about this all the time. What if Devin Booker was like, fuck y'all, I'm not playing until y'all get me out of here? What does that organization have? They have nothing. He is their only draw. So he can literally hold them hostage. You either got to get this shit right or get me out of here. And if he's willing to sit, he can sit and get up out of there.
We've been telling these players to do that.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. We saying it. They don't like, and that gets to my point of what I said before. They don't understand the power that we possess because we move this shit. We move the needle. Motherfuckers don't come to that. They don't come there to see Robert Sarver. They don't come there to see Mark Cuban. Well, some people might, but they don't come there to see Dan Gilbert. They don't come there to see these owners. They don't watch basketball to see the GM. They come out here to see the athletes. So with you being the product, look, you have stand up. It's a revolt. It's just like Mandingo fighting. If all the Mandingo fighters say we not gonna fight and we gonna whoop this one slave owner's ass and revolt, they can make it happen. Some sacrifices might get made, like Nat Turner. Nat Turner led the largest slave revolt ever, the most violent slave revolt ever. Killed women, men, and children, regardless, because he didn't take no prisoners. But guess what? He ended up losing his life. But guess what? There was changes made because they understood the sacrifice that needs to be made. They didn't necessarily have to be self-serving. And that's what happens sometimes, especially now, is because they understand that we have a price. When you get to this certain level, there's certain people that you got to take care of. So they will put a price on you to make you decide. And it's the same thing why I say fuck. It's
a price on you to make you decide.
Bro, it's the same reason why I say fuck Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton used to be the first motherfucker at any fucking rally, anything. But guess what? Bro. The moment MSNBC came calling, that motherfucker got his body done and went on TV. And fuck him, bro. Because he had a price and they knew we can control you with a price. And now it was some motherfuckers that was looking up to you. They gonna be like,
no cameras. Al Sharpton ain't there, and that's the thing. Like,
exactly, he's self-serving.
Advocate for black people, or not for, or people who are facing injustices in this world, if you're going
It
to be
ain't pretty over here.
if you're going to be an advocate for them, then that means you have an obligation. If you're saying that, that's what you're going to do. You're going to be a voice of the people, like how Fred said that he was. Fred wasn't just showing up when a camera or a microphone was there. Fred was there, bro, day in and day out.
Bro,
and that's the difference of somebody that's really for the people.
They don't show up when the camera's there. The cameras show up when they there.
Exactly.
I know y'all. I ain't want to cut y'all off because y'all was going on a good tangent, but we got some supporters like they've been making asking some questions that we need to touch on. Like Marcus Candace asked, "Would you take less to be a part of the decision making process?"
So if I'm thinking like Hill, and I'm trying to secure my legacy in this game, and I want to be a champion, then yeah, I'm gonna take less. But
Yeah,
to me personally, that's the only way I'm gonna take less. You have to put me in these rooms, and you actually have to hear me.
And I actually gotta believe that. And that's the thing I need in
Right.
writing, because they told Deshaun that he would have decision. Well, I know you said we sticking to basketball here.
No, but I mean that was a good example.
That he will have control and stuff or input, and they didn't listen to anything that he said. So it's like,
Bro, and for that, it's like they didn't even say we'll bring this guy that you want us to bring in for an interview. He didn't say hire him. He just said bring him in for an interview.
It depends on your relationship with ownership. It depends on if they're willing to put things in writing. It depends on if your management or your agency, the people who you trust to look at your contracts, say that this is exactly what it means. Because the greatest trick in the world is to say something in the contract but put underwriting in it that contradicts it to make it so that it's almost impossible for it to happen, which is what most like 360 deals are like in the music industry is like they tell you you're going to get this much up front, but in reality that's really a loan. They just word it funny so that you understand it. So it's like you gotta, like Marcus Morgan just said, read the fine print. Mm-hmm. You gotta decide what's best for you and if I'm a superstar and you're really gonna give me a say so, then yeah, maybe I'll look at it, especially if I'm a superstar that haven't won. But if I'm a superstar that won and maybe I haven't gotten a supermax yet, and I'm still want that supermax, then listen, I'm going after the money. It all depends on my personal situation.
Because here's my thing.
So yeah, does the situation depend on the caliber of player? I feel y'all was going on to that anyway. So
right,
yeah, so it definitely does.
Not necessarily. It just
why
depends.
not?
No.
That's going to depend on the money.
Wait, it depends. It depends on the sport, because in basketball, the caliber of the player matters, because we've gotten into this positionless basketball. So regardless of what position you make, you might have some you might be a caliber. But in football, we understand quarterback is the position.
But even he not getting it. So it's like,
but here's my thing. When because I was talking to your brother Hakeem about this on that post where we was talking about the caliber of quarterbacks, because a right guard, he could be the best right guard in the league, but he can't say I want to be in these meetings. But we've understood in football how a quarterback can change the organization. You can be like, you don't hear somebody say, oh, this team is Mike linebacker away from the Super Bowl. You hear they're a quarterback away. So if I'm a quarterback, I don't care if I'm a top 15 quarterback, but we have an elite team. If I'm that quarterback, I am your big joker. I am your prize asset. So you can't necessarily treat me just like I am just a regular worker. You can't talk to me like Hakeem said. He said they're pawns. Not all football players are made the same. Some football players are pawns, but that quarterback is more like a knight or a bishop. And so if you're an elite quarterback, you might be the queen, because without you, this shit don't move.
But I think that's what Kaz was saying with his caliber statement. Like it matters, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Football,
it matters, but
even in basketball, even in baseball, like Harper is gonna get more than just a farm player that's coming up on his.
I get that, but to do baseball, if Bryce Harper says he wants stuff, yeah, but Bryce Harper is an outfielder. He's an everyday player. what does baseball loves pitching. So if Clayton Kershaw says I want this versus Bryce Harper, I think they're gonna listen to Clayton Kershaw a little bit more just because of the position that he plays.
I don't know. Bryce Harper makes more money right now.
Who the best pitcher on the Phillies? Exactly. They listen to Bryce. They listen to Bryce Harper.
What I'm saying is if Bryce Harper and Clayton are
he's worth too much of their budget, they got to. So that's why I agree with Kev.
It's a caliber situation.
Okay. So real quick, when Draymond clip was playing, I just want to say Fernando Tatis Jr. ain't listened to shit that we've ever said on this podcast because he signed a 14-year contract extension.
No. He listened to everything he said because he said play baseball.
Yeah.
So
he got security. So it's like
340
What I'm saying,
he listened to us. He listened to you. He listened to me. He listened to Ken. He listened to all
I'm saying is,
I
don't. But here, okay. I don't think he's at his prime. So the I think this is a discount for the Padres because I think
it is a discount, but it's a win-win for both parties, which is rare. Which I like baseball because of that. One, you get the thing that players want in football. They always want a long-term deal, but they don't get it because it's never guaranteed. So this is fully money, bro. And like, bro, 340 divided by 14. It's still a lot of money per year, bro.
Did he just say we? Are you a San Diego Padres fan? I have never.
No, he actually is. He actually is. Yes.
Really, I have never. I've been all over this country, Drew. I've lived everywhere.
You from? Where are you from?
I think he is from San Diego.
That makes sense.
I think he is from San Diego. Because I remember he's a Chargers fan, I believe.
Look, that's $24 million a year. Really, 25.
Okay, so you know what? I will take $25 million a year for 14 years.
I'll take it. Granted, you might be mad in 8 years when the value of the dollar go up, but it's like really
he's gonna
be that mad about.
He's gonna make them so happy those first 8 years.
Yeah.
You know what?
The second half, he might regret the deal, but at least. If he starts slumming, he's still gonna be locked into a guaranteed contract.
Yep.
And then you probably ain't even gonna be really worth 25 mil at that unless you turn out to be really elite. Then it's a bad deal.
So I guess and that's what brings us to that. It's a good deal because I believe he's gonna be worth more than 25 in these first couple years of this contract.
I do believe that. And it's
so at the back end of that joint, you know what?
So it's like a win-win. But why can't every professional league, if it's a $1 billion pot, why can't they make beneficial deals like baseball is doing, where it's a win-win for you and your family, or the player and his family, and for the organization? And why is there a cap on years of contracts in the NFL?
There ain't no cap on years.
I thought there was a max. I thought that you can't do longer than a 7-year deal.
You just seen Patrick Mahomes
get 10.
Well, he was the first person I seen that, and it might have changed, but it's like prior to that, you couldn't do it.
Because guess what? They want to cycle you through because they understand. You know what? This is the NFL. They say is not for long. So why would I sign somebody in a game where I'm probably gonna maximize your talents for 3 to 5 years?
Aren't guaranteed. The least you can do is sign them. In the meantime,
why when I don't have to? I don't have to guarantee you.
Well, why not just do 2-year deals? Why do the facade deals? Why do 5-year deals? That's
literally what Hill's been saying. That's what Hill's been saying for 2 years.
I've been saying it with Hill, but what I'm saying is, if we're doing a facade, who are we lying to?
Because guess what? Some of those players feel like
themselves.
But why? And it's really
no.
It's really a trick for teams like the Rams to manipulate the cap. That's really what those extra 3 years are for.
So until you figure it out, we gonna keep tricking you stupid motherfuckers until you figure it out.
Which is why I agree with Draymond. And I think that should transfer
stupid motherfucker
across sport for players. And I don't even think that it should be a color barrier on it. Players in general need to speak up for themselves, like Hill was saying. But you need to
but it's not
let the media run your narrative, because if you be quiet, they're definitely running your narrative.
But it's not because but in NFL, you know who the big dog is.
No, I'm saying I know that, but I'm still saying like you still got to speak up.
But the big dogs is getting their bread.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
But
No. And when I mean big dog,
when I got these 2-year trick deals.
No. When I mean big dogs, I'm talking about the quarterbacks.
Exactly.
The quarterbacks is getting their money. But like you said, if you in the NBA or you in anywhere else, any other league, don't matter your position, you are getting paid. You getting your maximum worth, whatever that. The reason why it's not going to work in the NFL, and the players have tried it. Players have tried to get more money than any position. They tried to not have that positional cap. They tried to do all of that.
Bro, Jimmy Graham, when they tried to tag him and he wanted that wide receiver designation instead of a tight end. Because like Hill was saying, like there's no necessary like basketball, there's no positional designations. Oh, you're a center, so you can only make this much.
That is dirty business, though, and that's his point. So it's like
dirty business on who?
On the owners.
No.
So it's like if you, because of a player like Deshaun, for example, they're controlling the narrative on him, and you see what all the blogs are saying about Deshaun, just because he want to better his situation. But if the organization can cap your position like how they did Jimmy Graham when he was getting targets and receptions like a wideout, that is not fair. That is dirty business, bro. Until you do right by the players.
Until you do
Cannon. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Have we heard from Deshaun Watson?
No, we haven't. But what I'm saying, that's my point, is his narrative is being controlled, and blogs at major mainstream entities have badmouthed him. That's not fair.
Who can change it?
But hold on, let me finish. That's what I was saying that he didn't like, is that Kyrie can take his sabbatical and get treated like a dog, but it's like
as he should have.
Could do whatever though, and they get a free pass. And I'm just saying that for sports across the board, that's how it is. The organization can do whatever, and if the player does it, they're a bad guy. And I don't feel like that. I don't feel like Jimmy Graham should not have been able to not get his money, because he was at the time performing like a wide receiver.
I'll go ahead, AJ, but I gotta go ahead, Kenny, on that last point.
Okay, so here's my it'll kind of tie into the point that you got, like, that you about to make, Hill.
How you know my point?
Just listen to me. Just listen to me. Listen, look at what happened with the Baltimore Ravens. Orlando Brown Jr. Mm-hmm. Ronnie Stanley got hurt. Ronnie Stanley got that money. He got that contract to be the highest paid. No, probably the second highest paid, because Bakhtiari got the money. But Ronnie Stanley got paid. Orlando Brown moved over to left tackle within his after his injury. Mm-hmm. Played left tackle, did really well, and said, I want to get traded because I'm a left tackle. Mm-hmm. I believe what he should have done is be like, no, I'm a right tackle. But look at the division I play in. Right tackle is more important in this division than left tackle. So don't pay me like a right tackle. Pay me like a left tackle, but on the right tackle side, because guess what?
And I'm
because in the AFC North, Ronnie Stanley, he not lining up the majority of the plays against Myles Garrett, because guess what? Majority of the plays, Myles Garrett line up on the right side. Mm-hmm. On the majority of the plays, TJ Watt, he not going against Ronnie Stanley. He going up against me. So in this division, pay me what I do. Pay me my worth. If I'm in McDonald's and I'm the best fry cook you got, but I take over the register, I take over the manager when he call out, don't pay me like I'm a fry cook. Pay me for what the fuck I do. And so that's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about.
And I think that's why I say these NFL players, they need to stop just kind of like acquiescing. And we're starting to see it. We're starting to see players get those, give me the short-term deal for the fully guaranteed. But the NFL got so much power because it's still not guaranteed, and they still have
not guaranteed.
No, they can bring you to camp. They can bring you to camp and not pay you once you leave.
And they can cut you, bro. They can do all of this stuff. They got dates if you don't play by. But go ahead, Hill.
Because they did what?
Huh?
Because they did what? There you go. There you go.
Hill, remember when I was
like they're not offering anything else. So it's like,
what do you mean they're not offering anything else? The
They're
players,
they're not demanding anything else.
yeah.
Because guess what? They're scared. They're
But
scared.
what did y'all say though?
They're scared. They're scared for a holdout.
But look,
And
y'all said that the big dogs have what they want in football, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So in order for the little dogs to get what they want, the big dogs are going to have to sacrifice too. And that is how the NFL has divided them, by giving the big dogs what they want so that the little guys can't get it, because they're never going to strike with you because they have what they want.
Quarterbacks was ready. The last CBA that you told them to not sign with DeMaurice Smith,
and they did.
The quarterbacks was on board with them.
I
with
know,
the big dogs.
they're going to always be on board, and that's what I said.
No. Quarterbacks was on board with. They was playing with the team. They was with the players. The quarterbacks was acting like regular players.
And what I'm saying, but the broke people went back first because they can't. So it's like, that's the thing. I'm not saying what specific side they're going to be on here. What I'm saying is the broke people are always going to be on a different side than the other people, unless you're going to have outliers, of course. But for the most part, if I'm broke, I can't strike, bro. I cannot afford to strike like Tom Brady can. I can't.
So they before they ask for anything else, they got to address themselves, right?
No, I understand that, but it's also like I said, baseball is making fairer deals. They're offering that to the players union. Like, you don't gotta offer up slave deals. Like, of course I know that you're going to, but my whole stance was that there are other sports leagues out here doing it fair. It can be done fairly. They are choosing not to. And out of all of the sports industries in the United States, football brings in the biggest slice. They have more revenue than baseball, more revenue than the NBA, and they still choose to do it that way. And I understand that they have more players on their roster than all the other sports. And I'm not asking for everybody to be paid equally across the board. I'm asking for their contracts to be guaranteed for the amount of years that you said that they signed for. That ain't that hard to do, bro.
But Cannon, how many lockouts you seen in the NFL?
they scared.
No.
I've seen two.
Seen two. How many NBA lockouts have you seen? Seen more. You seen more.
Maybe two.
You see more. You seen them more, but you seen them get what they wanted. Let's say that.
Yeah, they get. And that's the thing. Lockout, they came back after they got what they wanted. NFL lockout, they came back after they said, I can't strike another week.
Okay, then.
Exactly. So real quick, Morgan, ain't no pitcher making that kind of money. 14 years, 340. You forgot Garrett Cole signed with the Yankees for $9 million, 324. Steven Strasburg, remember that contract? You can't tell me, and even Clayton Kershaw, he signed a 3-year, $93 million deal. That's 31 a year. They handed out those contracts to everybody. I'm not like I said before.
And that's why I thought it's fair. I like how baseball.
So don't say ain't no pitcher making that. They making it. Some making more. $30 million is a lot more than 25.
You seen when they held out for that COVID deal last year, right?
Guess what?
Remember, they didn't move till they got what they wanted, right?
Bro.
And
what the NFL players do.
But you know what?
You want to play.
And here's my point. NFL players have CTE, bro. We
All right,
can't rely on them to make the best
but see,
mental decisions.
I can't.
AJ, that was a troll, bro.
I know.
Look at, he's ready to go. He's ready. I can't let you do that. No. Yes, we can do that, bro.
I can't let Marcus. I just said Garrett.
Garrett
Cole signed 9 years.
Man, we cannot let this episode go without Vincent Jackson was a true baller in this league, man. He went across the middle. He did it the right way, and it is unfortunate to see them go out, see him. And there's more players like this, man. And that's another thing. That's why I say the NFL is doing bad business. They didn't set these players up for life after the NFL, man.
Marcus, you're about to piss me off, bro.
Hey, y'all gotta take y'all war to the group.
David Price got 7 years.
Take y'all war to the group.
Steven Strasburg got 7 years.
Y'all gotta take.
I just told you.
Why you still talking about this, AJ? We know.
Hey, y'all know Marcus is a loyal supporter. He been waiting for baseball. Y'all done gave him baseball. He gonna come at you with some baseball.
We be talking baseball though.
I'm just saying, we're not enough.
I'm here. I can talk it.
You gave him an inkling, and he gonna go for some baseball, bro. Like,
Guaranteed money and bonuses. This the major leagues. They gonna get that when they sign it. They get it.
But I think what he's saying is, AJ, that model can be done in other leagues, bro.
No, and that I'm not arguing.
And that's my point.
The reason why it's not happening is because guess what?
Because
major league players have collectively bargained for this to happen. The NFL can't collectively.
They don't have CTE, and that was my rebuttal.
And not even CTE, but guess what? When it comes to a strike. When it comes to a strike, the first group of people that you're gonna be able to cross the picket line
are the broke ones.
Are the broke people. Guess what? Those people that are number 40 to 53 on the roster.
Oh yeah, they breaking.
They breaking that because guess what? I need to be in camp so I can get paid.
My family got mortgage and all this other stuff.
Exactly. I'm the lone man. I'm the lone man in my family. And in the NFL, if you're on the practice squad, you making six figures, just a couple six figures, but you done probably bought your mama a house. You done probably broke your family off a little bit of something.
And so you paid your bills yet.
And they looking at you like an ATM. So you need that. So the best way that they can do is, all right, Aaron Rodgers, Mahomes, Julio, y'all can wait us out. But guess who can't?
I agree with Drew, man. I like to say, and that's really all I'm asking for. I'm not asking for a right guard to be paid like a left tackle. I'm not asking for the number 30th wide receiver to be paid like the number 15. What I am asking is for, if you sign me to a 2-year deal, that I be obligated to be paid by you for 2 years. And if you cut me before that, I should at least get half of what you owe me, or some type of compensation. It's like, you can tell me that I'm going to make $5 million over the next 2 years, and if you cut me, instead of me having $5 million, I only collected 1.5, and I done bought a house and everything, and now I'm done. I just think that is not good fiduciary.
You know what the NFL players should collectively bargain? Get rid of the dead cap number. If I'm not on your roster, I don't count towards the salary cap.
And that's what's hurting a lot of times.
You just gotta pay. You just gotta pay me. It don't fuck up your salary cap. Just pay me to leave. When you fire a coach and he's still on your payroll,
and you still pay him,
that ain't dead coach cap. You can't hire assistants. You can't not hire assistants that you want to hire.
Hiring black coaches.
I just got my text. I definitely got to get up out of here, fellas. Episode 97. Y'all know y'all can catch us on all major podcast platforms. 3Man Weave, Instagram, Twitter, 3Man Weave _. You can email us at podcast.3.man.weave@gmail.com. That's AJ, that's Cannon. I'm Hill. Once again, it's episode 97, and we out.
And this week, send y'all baseball questions and y'all boxing questions.